So what kind of sentence can you see here in number 1? What do you think is this kind of sentence?
A conditional sentence.
Okay, a conditional sentence. How do you realize that?
Because it start with if.
Yes, because it starts with if. All the conditional sentences start with if, right? Most of them. Okay, so what kind of conditional is this one? Remember that we have different kind of conditional sentences, right? Do you remember how many conditional sentences do we have? Do we use in English? How many conditional sentences do you know?
Three
For
conditions.
conditional.
Again, please. 3?
Yes, three conditions.
3 conditionals.
Was
Which ones?
for, because we have the zero conditional.
Yes, 4 conditionals, right? Because we have the 0 conditional, the first conditional, the second conditional, and the third conditional. Okay, 0, first, second, and third. We have 4 kind of conditional sentences. Today we are going to talk about one of them. Which of them do you think is the conditional we are going to talk about? I want you to pay attention to sentence 1. What kind of conditional is this one? What do
The
you
third
think?
one.
The third.
The third conditional, right? Okay, so it says, we use the third conditional when we are talking about imaginary situations in the past, or when we talk about something contrary to what actually happened. Okay, when we want to say something contrary to what actually happened. For example, in this sentence, it says, this is what actually happened. It says, it wasn't a nice day. We didn't have a good time. So I want to say something contrary to what happened. And I say, if it had been a nice day, we would have had a good time. Okay, so this is the contrary to what actually happened. Here I have another sentence, and I want you to follow exactly this same structure to tell me the contrary to what actually happened. Okay, pay attention. It says, it was a nice day. We had a good time. What do you think could be the contrary situation here? What can you say?
If it was a nice day and we would had a good time.
Okay, but I want you to use exactly the same structure that we have here.
If it had not been a nice day,
Mhm.
we will have a we wouldn't have a good time.
We wouldn't have?
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had a good time.
Yeah, well, sorry, I didn't read that part. We wouldn't have had a good time.
Yes, very good. If it hadn't been a nice day, we wouldn't or couldn't, we can use couldn't too, have had a good time. Okay, so this is a contrary situation to what actually happened. I want you to pay attention to these 2 sentences in gray, and I want you to tell me what is the structure that we use. What are the tenses that we use in this kind of conditional sentence? Remember that in conditional sentences, we have always a condition and a result, and they are normally separated by a comma, right? What do you think is the tense that we use in the condition? I want you to pay attention to the condition. What could be the tense here?
Past perfect.
Past perfect, right? So in the third conditional, we use the past perfect. As you can see, had been. or hadn't been. This is the if plus the past perfect. This is the condition. What about the result?
Present perfect conditional.
Again, please.
Present perfect conditional.
The perfect conditional. Yes. Okay, for example, this is the perfect conditional. Okay, the perfect conditional is would or could. Okay, then we have and the past participle. The perfect conditional. So these are the two tenses that we are going to use in the third conditional to talk about imaginary situations in the past. Could be regrets. You can talk about regrets too. Or could be when you want to say the contrary to what actually happened. Okay? In the past, of course. So let's see. We have this kind of conditional sentences, but also we have another here in your book. I want you to pay attention to this one. What is the difference between the first sentence and this one that we have here? What is the difference between the sentence that we saw before, the third conditional, and the one that we have here?
It doesn't have the if, teacher.
Yes, it doesn't have if. Okay, we use these kind of sentences when we are talking about something formal. Okay, let's check this. So when we are giving a formal speech, or when we are writing something, we can use this other structure of the conditional. Okay, we invert the subject and the auxiliary verb, as you can see here in sentence number 3. As you can see, we invert the subject and the auxiliary verb had. Okay, and we use this. We use first the auxiliary verb as in a question, then the subject. After the subject, we use the past participle, and this is the condition. Okay, and in the result, in the second part, in the second clause of the sentence, we use the perfect conditional. Would or could or and have and the past participle. So this is the other structure that we need to use when we are talking about something formal or when we are writing something formal. Okay? Let's see here. We are going to change exactly the same sentence into this way, the formal way. What can we say here? It says, if it had been a nice day, we would have had a good time. How can you change this tense to the formal way? This sentence, sorry. I want to follow this prompt. What do you think? ¿Cómo podríamos cambiarlo?
Had it been a nice day,
Mm-hmm.
we will have a good time.
Very good. Had it been a nice day, we would have had a good time. As you can see, we eliminate, we erase if, and we change the position of the auxiliary verb and the subject. Okay, had it been a nice day, we would have had a good time. Okay, this is the formal way. Then we have the other one. If it hadn't been a nice day, we couldn't have had a good time. What do you think? How can we form the negative here?
Hadn't it been a nice day, we couldn't have had a good time.
So you say that hadn't is at the beginning. Yes? Okay, so here we have, had it not been a nice day, we couldn't have had a good time. As you can see, the negative form doesn't go in the auxiliary verb. It goes after the subject. Okay, so here we have had, eat, and the negative form after the subject. Okay, so this is the formal way in which we can form these sentences. Okay, any questions about this? Let's go to the instructions here in your book. Please, Christian, can you help me reading the blue lines, please?
Yes, use the past perfect of the verb in the if clause when it expresses something contrary to what actually happened. Use would, could, have, plus past participle of the verb in the main clause.
Okay, thank you very much. So here we have, this is the first clause, right? The if clause. And this is what you have to use in the second clause, in the main clause, okay? To express something contrary to what actually happened, okay? For example, can you read the two sentences here, please, Diego?
Okay, teacher. If the company had developed good marketing strategies, it would have made larger profits.
The next
If
one,
the
please.
restaurant
Sorry.
If the restaurant hadn't had such high prices when it opened, it could have attracted more customers.
Okay, when it opened, right? Okay, very good. As you can see, exactly the same. We have the if clause here and here. This is the condition. And in this, we use the past perfect. And in the second clause, that is the main clause of the sentence, we use a could have and the verb in the past participle, or would have and the verb in the past participle. Okay, exactly the same. Let's go to the second part. Please, Sergio Vilches, can you read the blue lines?
Sure, teacher. In more formal speech and writing, people sometimes invert the subject and the auxiliary had instead of using it.
Yes, instead of using if, we can do the formal way, right? We can invert the subject and the auxiliary verb. Okay, so here we have the auxiliary verb have, and this is the subject, right? So in a normal sentence, we normally say the subject first, but in this situation, we need to invert and the auxiliary verb goes first, okay? So, any questions about this? It's clear, right? Let's practice a little bit with exercise A. Combine this pair of sentences using conditional clauses. Write the combined sentences in two ways. Okay, for example, I didn't go to business school. I didn't start my own business. So this is the actual situation, what actually happened, right? So I need to write the contrary, okay? If I had gone to business school, I would have started my own business. Okay, so as you can see, we use exactly the same verb. I want you to pay attention to the verb, go, but we change this verb into the past perfect. And in the second clause, we use exactly the same verb, start, but we use it in the perfect conditional. Okay, so as we here have a negative form, this is negative, right? Negative and negative. We need to write the affirmative because we are saying the contrary to what actually happened. The same here. This is the formal way. Had I gone to business school, I would have started my own business. Okay? So I want you to do exactly the same with the rest of the sentences, and then we are going to check. I'm going to give you some minutes, okay? Number 1, please, Angelo. Can you tell me your sentence number 2, sorry?
If my friends and I didn't know enough about the potential of the internet, we couldn't start we couldn't start an online business.
Can you read your sentence, the first part again, please?
If my friends and I didn't, if my friend had 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 didn't know enough about the potential of the internet, we couldn't start an online business.
Okay. Remember that we need to use the past perfect in the first part, right? What is the past perfect of no? Angelo? Of this
Past
part.
perfect.
What is the past perfect of this part?
No.
Known, right?
Yes.
Pero necesita usted had.
If my friends and I, if my friends and I hadn't known enough about the potential of the internet, right?
Ok, si usted, como puede ver acá en mi oración es negativa, ¿cierto? My sentence is negative. And I need to write the opposite. So I need to write an affirmative sentence. The same with you. Your sentence is negative, so you need to write an affirmative sentence. Can you say it again?
My friends and if my friends and I had known enough about the potential of the internet, we would have started an online business.
Very good. Very good.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Please, Isa, number 3.
Okay. If Terry had developed a serious business plan, he wouldn't miss a number of opportunity. Had Terry developed a serious business plan, he wouldn't miss a number of opportunities. It's okay.
One more time. It says, the first part is okay. I guess you have a little trouble in the second part. Okay. So you said if Terry
had developed a serious business plan.
Okay. If Terry had developed a serious business plan, he
wouldn't miss a number of opportunities.
Okay, so creo que le está faltando el have.
I'm sorry. He
Right?
wouldn't have missed. Yes.
He wouldn't have missed. Okay, very good. And what did you say about the formal way?
And had Terry developed a serious business plan, he wouldn't have missed a number of opportunities.
Very good. Developed. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, very good. Let's go to the next one. Please, Abraham, can you tell me sentence number 4?
Sure. If I hadn't run up huge debts, I wouldn't have forced to take out a bank loan.
I wouldn't have.
I wouldn't have forced to take out a bank loan.
Ok, pero aquí no solamente tiene el verbo forced, tiene el verbo también be, right? Entonces, ¿cómo sería?
Yes. I wouldn't have been forced to take out a bank loan.
Ok, porque en realidad este no sería el verbo forced, sería un adjetivo, forzado. Ok.
Okay, teacher.
Thank you. What could be the formal way in this situation? Lydia, please. Number 4, the formal way.
Had I didn't write, but the idea.
Okay, try.
Okay.
And I'm going to help you, okay?
Okay. Had had um, had I run up
Mm-hmm.
huge debt, I would I wouldn't been forced to take out.
Ok, como aquí mi oración está, como me dijo, had I,
Had I
not, right? Porque mi oración es afirmativa, entonces yo tengo que llevarla a negativa. Had I not
run up,
huge debts,
yes,
I
wouldn't been
I would have, I wouldn't have, sorry, I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
have,
I wouldn't have been forced to take.
very good. I wouldn't have been forced to take out a bank loan. Okay. Number 5, please. Javier, tell me, please.
Okay, teacher. If Sanshi had rejected a scholarship at a language institute, she would have been able to develop the skills to start a translation business.
Ok. Mis oraciones son en la primera parte afirmativa y en la segunda negativa. Y tengo que cambiar lo opuesto, ¿cierto? Entonces, al principio sería,
If Sanshi hadn't rejected a scholarship at a language institute, she would have been able to develop the skills to start a translation business.
yes. So, hadn't rejected and would have been able, right?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Samuel, can you tell me the formal way?
Yes, teacher. Uh, had Sanhi not rejected a scholarship at a language institute, she would have been able to develop the skills to start a translation business.
Very good. Let's go to the last one, please, Sergio Vilches.
Okay. If Elizabeth and I hadn't refused financial help from our families, we would have been able to open a small cafe and at the beach.
Okay, cafe. Thank you, very good.
Cafe.
Can you tell me the formal way, please, Daniel?
Okay. Um, had Elizabeth and I not refused financial help from our families, uh, we could have been able to open a small coffee at the beach.
Okay, could be. Okay, guys, do you have any questions about your sentences or anything to correct? Anything to check? No? Okay. Let's go to the next one, okay?
Teacher, sorry.
Yes?
The last sentence, the second part, is we would have been okay.
We would have, sorry,
Been.
we would have been able. Okay. Lo que cambiamos aquí al past participle es el verbo to be, ¿cierto? En este caso, weren't. Entonces lo transformamos a afirmativo y al past participle. Any other questions? Okay, let's move on. It says complete the sentences with your own information. Okay, so here you have the half of the sentence and you need to write the rest of the sentence here. If I had taken a part-time job last year, if all the students in the class had started a small business at the beginning of the school year, had I known more about the internet, had I followed my parents' advice, if I had invested some money in the stock market 5 years ago, if I hadn't been able to predict the future 2 years ago, had I followed my intuition, if I had started my own business. Okay, so I want you to complete these sentences. Then we're going to share your ideas. And then you're going to do a conversation, okay?